Hey, how's it going, everyone? So I was reading this public post from Julie Borowski, and she was saying that she got a lot of messages from young men who were lonely, asking advice on how to get a girlfriend, how to overcome shyness with women, over how to get over depression, things like that. And she said she's been getting these kinds of messages for many years now. And she asked, how is it there's so many people who feel like this, because these guys might be mocked as being loser virgins, she says, who live in their mom's basement and things like that. And she's like, how come there's so many people who feel like they need advice and help in these arenas? And I think that it's twofold. Um, and a lot of it, of course, here stems with uh, fatherhood. And the two parts are the lack of fathers present in young men's lives, especially when you consider the divorce rate that kind of peaked up around the year 2000, and of course young kids being raised without fathers, and then the cultural aspect of toxic masculinity. And I want to just narrowly define toxic masculinity for my talk. Uh, is to be specifically with shaming young men for expressing their emotions, being emotionally distant and closed off, not teaching young men how to uh, communicate their emotions, how to be emotionally vulnerable in a nonviolent communication way. And so when you have these trends that rose up over these years, you have a lot of the generation, I guess you could say X, millennials, and the like, who grew up without having a strong father presence, a man who could raise them, talk to them about how to have emotional vulnerability, talk to them about how to treat women or talk to women, how to overcome their emotional dysfunctions, how to overcome shyness and things like that. So when you have these many years, especially past 30, 40 years, of an increase in young men, especially who grew up without fathers, or fathers who were just emotionally distant and closed off, not really, training up their children how to, effectively communicate, then you start to see these types of dysfunctions, or just you could say inabilities running rampant. People who are unable to think through how they process their emotions. People are unable to think through how they can effectively communicate to other people, especially if they're trying to be romantic. And I think that it's important to note just how important a father's role is, and that men can't just be discarded in this regard. A father's role in a young child's life, male or female, uh, is very important. And the emotional communication that's learned from having a father figure, who's an effective communicator and raise their children with love and physical affection, is vital to a child's upbringing. And so, with that in mind, if there's going to be a trend reversal of what's happened, there needs to be more men who are able to stay and willing to stay, to raise their own children, and willing to learn how to be effective communicators, especially if they themselves weren't sure how to effectively communicate because of their own childhood and maybe dysfunctions or abuse or shaming that they had when they were growing up. So, to learn that, if you were looking to better your communication, you could read Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. You can learn about how to speak to others through nonviolent communication seminars that they have. You could also read Healing the Child Within, which is a great book for dealing with childhood hurts. If you're looking how to deal with your own emotions in a healthy way and be able to uh, do better for the next generation whenever you have your own kids. Those are two great books, and I'll link it down below for you to check on out. But I think that those resources are really important. And if there isn't a change of this trend, if there isn't a increase in respecting fatherhood and the need for fathers, and the need for fathers to show love through having emotional vulnerability, through physical affection. Hugs and kisses are important to kids too, especially when they're young and growing up. They need a loving father, not just a loving mother. But if that doesn't change, you're going to see more and more people who have emotional dysfunction, who don't know how to communicate well with others, who have a lot of emotional holes in their heart from upbringing that need to be fixed and remedied and processed through as an adult. So, I just wanted to kind of answer this question publicly here because I thought it was an important question. This goes beyond just camaraderie or looking for, brotherhood or something like that. This is about someone's childhood um, really being analyzed and thought through and having the opportunity to do better with the next generation, especially if you're going to have kids or have kids, and helping your children or future children grow up with that love and support in the home that comes through emotional vulnerability and learning how to communicate without shaming, and being present for children. It's become hard to see families that are still together in this day and age, but that can change by working through emotional dysfunctions from childhood. It can change by thinking through how you can do better for your kids and how you can better your relationships. So I will have to talk to y'all later, but I'll see you in the threads. Adios.